So, I recorded a bunch of reviews of some of these games, but enough of it was like the audio, like my audio was muted. I had various other issues that basically it's simpler to just start over. So, what I've got here is about 150 games that are free on Steam. So you can get all of these right now, no cost to you. And I'm going to play them all. About 5 minutes each. You can see this timer right here. 5 minutes each, so that's 300 seconds, 5 minutes. Plus a little extra so I can start the timer and then open the game, and if it takes 10 seconds to open itself up, that's fine. So I'm going to play them each 5 minutes. The ones I like, I'm going to play for another 30, and then I'm going to play those for another hour, like the one, sort of fewer games but more time per game, until I've sort of sorted out all of the games January for free. What should you play? What should you not play? And sort of how long they all last. Because I think it's fine if a game lasts, say, 15 minutes. If you just say, you go in expecting this is going to be a 15-minute game, and it's a 15-minute game, and you're like, wow, that was fun. It was a fun little 15 minutes. Something like that. This is also for me. I think I've learned a lot just playing all these random games, and like sort of what are the standards of quality, what corners can you cut, and what things do you need to actually do correctly, that sort of thing. So hopefully it's helpful to you as either just a piece of entertainment or as someone who's an indie game dev. Okay, so let's start off with Calrivar Cluster and start the timer. There we go. Huh. That's my base. I'm going to go with spawn waypoint. Numpad minus. If you see selection points, you can use the up and down arrow keys to switch between selection and creation mode. Building mode is disabled in tutorial and okay. Press build key, delete, enter key. Awesome. Upon creation, all units will move to your selected spot point. They get first should be selected with numpad plus or spacebar. Okay. What? Okay, well that's my timer. So Calrivar Cluster. I don't want to put. I think I'm just gonna have to put it in the bottom, sort of the bottom tier of games that don't work correctly. It's unclear to me what the intended experience is. I couldn't find it, and things kept constantly breaking. If it was a little clearer, maybe we'll go in a higher tier. But for now, it's just like I spent 5 minutes just trying to figure out what buttons to press because it's got this weird control scheme that I've never seen before and probably will never see again. And I don't even know what the game genre is. Like, what am I? It's got like an army thing or like a building game, or it's a confusing mess. And that feels mean to say, but I don't know what the game is, so I can't play it, Darkstorm. I have reviewed this one previously, but we'll do it again. Okay, so yeah. Here's the good, right? There's this, I think it's a shader, it might be some other thing that's moving this menu thing around that's kind of cool. The music is pretty cool. Like the menu is well designed. I like this typeface. I like the way that it's got this shiny material on it that like responds to your mouse. These are all good things. settings menu that actually exists. When I first reviewed this game, my standards were so much higher than they are now. The fact that there is a settings menu is good enough for me at this point, even if it's nearly useless. Full screen toggle, that's helpful. I like the defaults to full screen. Unfortunately, once you actually play the game, things change. They came faster than we could have expected. We had no time to repair and were defeated by the enemy. The few who survived migrated to the mountains, but we cannot live here for long. We must reclaim our city. Thus, we have sent our only hope. Initiating mission command. Machine of absolute retaliation and safeguard, Mars. Base. Security terminal. Okay. Mars execute command. Search and destroy. Okay, do I click? Okay, so the first time I played this game, I was like, this is incredibly jank, and I don't want to keep playing it. And it's still jank, right? You can see the mouse cursor. That's like an easy. This is made in Unity, right? I don't work in Unity, but in Godot, it's just like one line of code fixes that. Is that in the options for some reason? Sensitivity, music. Oh, oops. Oh, no, let's not start the timer? Okay, well, starting the timer now. Yep. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of jank. Like the locking animation doesn't line up with the actual amount it moves. And if you like don't hold the key, it just like sort of does that. It's jittery, it's like weird. I think that the choice to be such a low resolution is like an intended artistic choice. But that doesn't mean I necessarily like it. Whatever. It's jank, but at least it's interesting jank. It does something artistically interesting, and that's good enough for me to at least say, okay, this audio is low. Let me check my OBS, see how the mixing is. Oh yeah, no, that's peaking. Okay, let's go back into the. Yeah, there we go. A little more. Okay, I think that's about as low as I can reasonably take it. Hopefully it's not too bad. Okay, so chips. Oh, 13 minutes? Okay. Okay, so there is some jank. So the jump sort of works, but not really. I think it's supposed to have a jetpack. Okay, so this chip I think is important. Yay! I don't know what my mission here is. Can I kill this thing? The soundscape is really busy, and this health bar is hard to see. I don't know if I'm even dealing it. Oh wow, that's. Okay, I'm gonna turn my desktop audio down actually. That might help. And at least not help me. I'm not sure if it'll help the stream audience. I don't know how that all works. So, did I kill it? What happened? I got some time? Does this look like that's ammo? Okay. as you can see, I can't get on the main road because the geometry and the player model aren't friends, and I can't jump to fix that either. It's just like, yeah. I think ultimately, like, that what it came down to last time was, do I want to play this game for 30 minutes? And the answer last time was no. And I think I've actually changed my mind on that, right? I've played so many games that do not deserve even 5 minutes, that this game, like, at least it has ideas, and seems to work approximately how it was intended to work. Whereas a lot of the other games, you know, there's a bunch of games that were just like, click on these cute pictures of cats. And that's the game, right? So it does what it says it was going to do, but it doesn't have anything that makes it unique or interesting. Like, once you've played, there's like dozens of those games, and once you've played one of them, you kind of played all of them. Whereas this game is unique. I think it's unique. Like, most of the things that make it unique are also the things that make it, like, annoying to play, but it is unique, right? Like, that's something to be said for it, at the very least. I wish that someone would tell me how to play it correctly, because I feel like I'm doing it wrong. And as far as I can tell, there's no, like, in-game guide. Search and destroy. Wait. Search and destroy should receive military compound. Yeah. I think last time I played, I accidentally found a jetpack somehow. Yeah, okay, so... yeah, so there's my timer. Yep. Okay, so there's my timer. Darkstorm. It goes above Calrivar Cluster because it works, sort of. It does approximately what it promised it would do. Now, keep in mind, I'm not like reading the Steam pages for any of these games. I'm basically just opening them and saying, here's the game I think this game is promising to be. Does it actually contain that game? So Darkstorm, it wants to be a game where you take a giant robot and you fight alien insects or something like that. And if you are a giant robot, you do indeed fight alien insects, and it's got the, like, tank controls, so, like, where you're pointing your mouse and where you're moving your arrow keys can be different to a certain extent. Like, it's fulfilling all of its promises at the very basic level, but it's not polished enough that I want to keep playing it. That said, it is polished enough that it works at the basic level, unlike this game below it. So take from that what you will. Okay, so don't read sim trading. So I've already started this game. I don't know how to, like, reset my progress or anything. So let's see, set the timer. Yeah, so basically you just, these are all cryptocurrencies. I would not suggest buying cryptocurrencies in real life because they suck, but this is a game, so you can be a little, you know, we can sort of lean into it for fun. The presentation is pretty good. It's using emojis, which you can read as unprofessional, but, you know, it's kind of endearing as well. And I think that one of the things about this game is that it doesn't really, like, if you're trying to show it off in 5 minutes, it doesn't really work, because kind of the point is that you check in for 10 minutes, you buy a bunch of Monero, or you like short Monero or whatever, and then you see if your bet's paid off later. So you start with 1,000 money, I guess 1,000 USD, I'm not entirely sure, and sort of see how it all pays off. Wait, did I have a bunch of Monero? Am I just selling it now? Okay, no, I'm shorting Monero. Okay. So that means that I'm betting against Monero going up, and it appears to be going up, so I'm losing money here. And that's basically the game. Monero's going up, so I'm going to buy a little bit of it. I don't know how all of this stuff works. I mean, so the thing about crypto is that stocks are like fractions of a company, right? So you basically take a company, you turn it into poker chips, and then you sell those poker chips and people gamble with them. And that's essentially what the stock market is. It's you turn a company into poker chips and people gamble with them. And a lot of that is really irresponsible because, you know, Walmart is publicly traded. So anyone who feels like it can buy shares of Walmart, and then if you have enough shares, you can like sort of influence the trajectory of Walmart as a company. But Walmart is also the United States' biggest employer. So if I as a random private citizen can positively or negatively affect the lives of like millions of people by sort of gambling on the stock of a publicly traded company. And like the recent Twitter buyout, for example. Basically, Elon Musk said, "Hey, I'm going to buy Twitter," because he was trying to he owned a bunch of Twitter stock and he was trying to make it go up. And then the SEC was like, "No, you said you were going to buy Twitter. You have to actually buy Twitter." And then he was sort of stronger into buying Twitter. And Twitter has become increasingly useless as a social media platform, but also increasingly useful as a misinformation platform. Like it's gotten pretty fashy. And that sort of thing happens all the time when you let private citizens who don't know what they're talking about. There's like, you know, the traditional investing model of just like, hey, I have this business, I want, you know, $10,000 for it or whatever. You talk to people who have money. Those people like either give you money or don't, and then sort of right. But there's always that's sort of an interview. So if I want money, I'm choosing my investors, and my investors are also choosing me. If you're publicly traded, you cannot choose your investors. Your investor is just whoever has a bank account, basically. Anyone with a bank account can trade stocks. And in the modern era, that's everyone. Everyone needs a bank account because we live in a digital first economy. And so the and it's like stocks are expensive, but you can also do like fractional trading. So, you know, Apple's a really expensive stock, but if I want to trade Apple, I can buy like a third of a stock of Apple or whatever and trade that, and that moves the market around somehow. So you're you're letting people whose interest in your company is not in anything the company is or does, but in how the company's poker chips move on a graph like this. Like you're letting those people sort of decide the direction for your company, and that sucks. It one of the things that it does is means that you really have to focus on short term profitability, which is often at the sacrifice of long term profitability, um, or stability, or any number of other things. So anyway, crypto is terrible for the environment. It attracts kind of the worst people, but I think that it's in some ways better than the stock market because the only thing that backs up Monero or Uniswap or any of these other coins, right, is themselves. So if I gamble my money on Bitcoin and I move Bitcoin around, or like Bitcoin goes up or down, it affects me and it affects all the Bitcoin holders. But Bitcoin isn't someone's job, or if it is someone's job, they're doing Bitcoin as their job because they wanted to. Whereas if I mess with the Walmart stock, I am hurting people or helping people. You know, I'm messing with their lives for good or for ill, usually for ill. And they didn't really a lot of people work for Walmart because that's their best option, you know. Anyway, the game itself, I don't really like crypto. It's stupid. It's sort of a scam made of other larger scams. And this game is an endorsement of crypto because you're basically paper trading with crypto. Like you're moving fake crypto around, and it sort of gathers data from real crypto to make that work. But as a video game, it's well presented, it functions as expected, and it works, right? So because the floor is so low, because there's a couple of games on this list, you know, I'll just do a review of the balls right now. Right, the balls crashes. All it does is crash. There's no game I'm able to find. So the balls. So this one is a game I don't morally agree with that functions as you'd expect. The balls just doesn't function. So this game is a game I don't like. This game is a game that nobody can like. So unfortunately, that does mean that this game is going to go up here. Anyway, let's restart the timer and play Dream of the Starhaven. And this game is already pretty. Like I'm already a fan of this game. I want to like this game. And as I said in the beginning, part of this is for me, myself and other developers to sort of get a sample of what players are looking at. And so for me, let's say I never played any of this game. All I knew was the title screen. What's my review of the game? My review so far is this looks pretty. There's obviously a lot of artistic direction going on here. You know, there's the low poly models are well presented. The chromatic aberration over here, where, you know, sort of the colors are separating out. So on your screen, every pixel is actually 3 subpixels, red, green, and blue. And this is an effect that you see on old VHS tape, where they sort of separate out because the tape is a mechanical device, and so it's imperfect. And also some just lenses do this, but this is a really exaggerated effect, just sort of to make it look pretty. I really like chromatic aberration. All of the basics are done right. I think that I should make a standalone video on this. But what I expect to happen when I open a game is it opens in full screen by default. There's a menu, right? So you can... Oh, there's no options menu here. I want an options menu. But there's a menu, so you can either play or do some other stuff. And there's music and animation in the screen itself, so you can tell that the game is working. And so here we go. This game does everything you want in a menu. This is one of the better menus I've seen playing all these games. And so even if I never touch the game again, I come away saying, this is a competent game made by a competent developer. I want to see what they do, right? And, you know, hopefully once I press this play button, they don't screw it up. Okay, more chromatic aberration. I guess I'm supposed to read from here to here, and then down there, so... You wake up nowhere, with no body, in fact less than that. You feel all the different parts of yourself having been torn away and thrown to the wind. You stand and look ahead, not even knowing how you're standing without a form. Before you is a beautiful haven, but you're no fool. You know a gilded cage when you see one. Time to pull yourself together. Okay, I'm interested. This game has done a really good job of getting me invested in it. And hopefully the rest of the game pulls it off. So yeah, sensitivity is a little high. I like my sensitivity low. Oh, right. Hopefully this just works. Yep, okay. Yeah, so the sensitivity is a little high, and the movement speed is a little fast for what the kind of game I assume this is going to be. I assume it's sort of a puzzly game. Wow, I'm zooming. Okay. I can scan stuff with F. Can use the scanner in the overworld. What does that mean? Okay, so I'm now in a level. Okay. Look around with the scanner's active to see where stars and other key hidden objects, right? Other key objects are hidden. Crystals charge the energy at the bottom of the screen if you need for scanning. Okay. So if I press F, got it. Okay, and it's a toggle. So, and I can. Oh, now I see what they give you so much movement speed. What happens now? Do I just die? Okay, no, it just returns me to where I was. Does that restart the? Oh, I can. Wait, if it returns me to where I was, where does it return to? Okay. This kind of reminds me of the Skylands and Breath of the Wild, although these ones are much easier to navigate between. Okay, so I assume that laser is bad for me. Let's go over here. Okay, got more energy. What does this do? Starburst objectives. Press the toggle the Starburst objectives window when inside a level. There you can explore optional objectives to earn secret starbursts. Okay. Yeah, okay, so this is sort of a relaxy, puzzly type game. Pass to the 3 rings. To reveal the starburst, pass to the 3 rings. It almost reminds me of, like, a really chill sort of Super Mario 64. Where it just, like, it's got assorted goals. And, like, they're not really connected in any meaningful way. It's just, like, here you get a reward for, you know, talking to this NPC, or beating this Koopa in a race or whatever. Okay, this is the highest rated game so far. Oh, hang on. This is the highest rated game so far by my metrics. It introduces itself really well, and then it follows through with that execution. You can't really ask for much more. All right, Dorado, the Golden something city builder prologue. Okay. Game park. Made with Unity. Okay. Bad sign. Oboe bunch. Okay. And then it is. Okay. So I think that a game should basically never have a splash screen that tells you what engine it's in, because that means that Unity used to require that, like, free games show off they were made with Unity, but not paid games. So made with Unity is sort of a badge of shame that, you know, lower tier developers, like not less skilled but just like less moneyed, had to wear because they weren't paying with the full Unity. And nowadays I think it's an optional thing, like everyone gets to not have it. And so especially then it's like it's just like one button you turn off, and if you turn it off it makes your game look better. So I think you should always turn it off. Anyway, information about Prologue. Welcome, O Mighty Ajah. You are playing El Dorado Prologue. The world that awaits you is full of wonders and challenges. However, please note the game is still under construction. We work tirelessly on... Okay, sure. So when I was doing this, I filtered out demos, but there's still this other thing that's basically the same as a demo, but it's like a prologue, so it's just like the same. But I'm keeping this in because it says it's a game, so I'm gonna just trust it as a game. Did it crash? I can't tell. Okay, well, I'm gonna let it do its thing until the timer dings. Okay, so it just... Okay, new cycle of the main calendar begins. Your father entrusts you with these lands to see if you are fit to be a future ruler. With the help of your advisor, build a city to the glory of your ancestors. Okay, so... My first question is... Like... Are these people Mayan? Or is it just sort of a Mayan-themed thing? Because those two things are very different, as far as I'm concerned. And my guess would be that this is just like they wanted to make a Civilization-style game and they wanted to theme it after Mayan stuff, but it's not necessarily their story to be telling. That said, let's try and play the game. Okay, so we got... Okay, you move the camera with laws. Yep, got it. Build 3 houses for commoners. Okay. Okay. What? Okay, so pretty standard controls for its genre. I haven't actually played Civilization. I've played a couple other city building games, and these are all pretty normal controls. Okay. Construction buildings, water carrier. Yeah, this doesn't feel like it's someone who's Mayan and happens to be a game developer. This feels like it's someone who's already a game developer wanting to make a Mayan flavored game. I don't know enough to be sure either way, but this feels much more like it's city builder game mechanics. Is it not connected? I mean, I have roads. Okay. City builder game mechanics, just wearing a Mayan skin. Wait for the water to be transferred to warehouse. Okay. So I'm just supposed to... Okay, well, this is the... Wait, can I see a description of this? Water carrier, okay. So, gather the water and then... Oh wait, that's my timer, isn't it? It sounded pretty natural. It sounded pretty natural to the game I was playing. Anyway, yeah, Dorado. You know what? I'm actually gonna put it above the bottom of the barrel, but below Darkstorm, because El Dorado, like, it is a video game. It does what it says, but it didn't work for me. So, unfortunately, yeah. Anyway, familiars.io. Where? Yeah, I've played this one before. This is like a Pokemon-like game. I think I've already got my party. Or, yeah, it's just like kind of Pokemon-y. Enemy topple is picking a fight. Let's go, Carbon. Carbon tries to play, got away. Okay. So, like, this is a cute little, like, Pokemon-adjacent game. Oh god, the flickering when you move around. I don't know exactly what's causing that, but I've had to fix a similar issue. And it was just, like, moving pixel art by non-integer amounts doesn't work. So that's probably what's causing that. It could be something else, I'm not sure. Yeah. So the thing about this game is that I don't think there's any NPCs, like there's no one you can talk to. There doesn't seem to be any main goal either, so it's just like a kind of empty world that you can wander around in. Oh, what's this? Google and two friends emerge in the automaton, okay. Fight employees too. Oh wait, that thing's fire damage, so it should... Ow, okay. Right. Damage 1. Psychic damage. Okay, so... Try Seeker. Fire type attack, okay. try laser. That did something. Okay. And that. Okay. And then I think I can use items. Oh, you don't need a special kind of potion to revive people. Okay. Oh. Uber. Okay. Brace. Okay, so I'm armored up. Can you Uber use Sunrise 2? I should resist the. Oh, heck. I thought I would resist that. Is that like a stun thing? Okay. Well, I'm gonna use pins 1. Yep. Okay. Let's try Seeker. Okay. Fire type attack. So it is a fire type attack. Okay. Spotlight. I don't know if this extends to my other. I don't know what they call them other than Pokemon. Laser. Okay. And then. Okay. I feel like I should get out of this dungeon. Yeah, like the complete lack of a story, as far as I can tell, is really hurting this game. Like, it's doing a lot of things correctly for a Pokemon type game, but I'm really just wandering around aimlessly. You know, I don't. What am I trying to do? Where am I trying to go? You know, it's just. I guess if that's your sort of thing, if you're like, I really wish Skyrim was Pokemon, and also, you know, 8-bit. No, this isn't even 8-bit. You know, this is like, you know, 8-bit has more detail than this. This is not quite the kind of game I necessarily want to be playing. I want it to have a story, and like Pokemon stories honestly aren't very good usually, but giving the player a direction to go in, even if players chooses to completely ignore said direction, is usually good. Yeah, and so, you know, I also have no way of telling like which battles I'm strong enough for and which battles I'm not. So if I like fight this thing, for example. Okay, so this one's level 1. Let's just blaze it. Okay, cool. And I get some XP, I think. Yay. Anyway, that's my timer. Okay, so I think this goes above Don't Read Sim Trading. Come on. I'm trying to pause you. There we go. This goes above Don't Read Sim Trading because it's... I think Don't Read is a better program, but I think Familiars.io is a better game. There's more, like, game in it. Also because I agree with this one and disagree with this one. But anyway, Grim Clicker. You gotta start the timer again. Grim Clicker, come on. Apparently I have played this game. Okay, start new game. What is this game? Apparently I've played it, but I don't remember it at all. Well, it's trying to do something. Okay. Oh yeah, this game. Okay, this game is just boring because it basically, you click. It's also performing awfully for some reason. I don't know what part of this game requires any strain on my CPU whatsoever, but it's having a bad time. But yeah, your guy basically just walks to the right and kills monsters, and your job is to collect various kinds of orb and upgrade him. I don't find this kind of game very interesting. I think there's just like not very much game here, you know? I guess it's technically a game in that in the long term you have meaningful choices, like how you upgrade your character. So like that is, you know, game. But it's so bare bones that I just don't really care. I think that one of the things that games as a medium are, they're a bunch of different things. So like their art, their music, their programming, you know, and then there are the more abstract things like editing and design. And a successful game will be like greater than the sum of its parts. So if you have like a game soundtrack, for example, that game soundtrack is going to be good on its own, hopefully, but even better in the context of you actually playing the game. Whereas this game, the sprite work is pretty good. The menu design is pretty good. You know, it feels good to click on when it's not lagging out. You know, there's lots of things that are being done competently. But the final package, once you're done with the once the customer gets the game, is just, you know, this. And you can make the game go faster by clicking, you know? But I just don't care. There's nothing about this game that's making me like want to do more of it. So I mean, I'm playing it because I said I would play every one of these games for 5 minutes if at all possible. You know, if reasonable. I gave up on the balls because it doesn't work. I'm not going to spend 5 minutes just like trying to get it to restart over and over and over again until it, you know. But for this game, it's a distillation of a lot of mechanics I don't like. The sort of the underlying principle at play here is leveling up. You know, you're supposed to make your guy more powerful by getting more XP points and currencies of various sorts. And leveling up as a mechanic is something that I think that we should basically get rid of. It's so often just either in the way or used to artificially extend playtime. And then there's even things like, you know, if you've ever heard of gamification, it's just adding XP bars to things that don't need them. And this is the result. You get a game that's just number go up, wait for number to go up. And probably this is similar to, say, Vampire Survivors in that the further you get in the game, the more options you have, and those options give you more options. And so for the certain spreadsheet-minded individual that like these kind of games, the quality of the game in terms of how many options and what you can do with them is exponential rather than linear. Like once you understand the underlying systems, you can like say, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and it's like those are all exciting things. And so you know, this game probably does the same thing. You know, the higher level you get, the more options you have, the more things you can do, that sort of thing. But Vampire Survivors, the second to second gameplay is moving around and like deciding, you know, where do I want to be if I want to not die, and then also, you know, I want that thing over there. How do I move in such a way that I can get over there without dying? And by just taking that movement option away from you, by just saying, yeah, your guy moves automatically. You know, people have criticized Vampire Survivors. I don't think this is fair, but people have criticized Vampire Survivors for being kind of a non-game because it, like, you aim automatically. The only thing you have to think about really is movement and progression, but the progression is really fun, and the movement is, you know, something to do with your hands. It, you know, I don't think it's amazing, but I don't think it's terrible. And this one, just because it takes that option away from you, it's just number go up. So I'm gonna put that down here with Dorado. Actually, no, it is functional. Like for, I'll put it with Don't Stir It. Yeah, it's functional. Actually, no, I'll put it with Darkstorm. It does what it says it's going to do. I just don't like the thing that it is. And I think that people shouldn't design more games like this. Actually, I'm going to put Darkstorm higher, right? So down here, these are games that straight up don't function as intended. Actually, I guess the ball straight up doesn't function at all. This one, these don't function as intended. This functions as intended in service of a game that is not interesting. This functions more or less as intended, but it's artful enough that I want it to win. This functions as intended and is well presented. It's just like a polished experience. Actually, I'll put this one, these two in the same category, I guess, because I don't know. I'm gonna put this one slightly higher because this is a video game and this is less of a video game. Like I think here and up, right? Video game I want to play more of. This game is artful but broken. This game is polished but not a game. And then up here we got games I want to play. Anyway, let's do SCP Rulebreaker. I'm excited about this one because it's SCP, but I'm also not excited because I did a little bit of research into this one, and they wrote a bunch of articles specifically to be used in the game. And the articles were not that interesting or well written. It didn't feel like an SCP type thing. It felt like they'd sort of come into the community with an idea of what they wanted to make, and didn't really respect the built-up traditions and understandings that SCP has been for, most of a decade at this point, maybe even more. I'm not sure how long it's been around, but it's been around for a while. So far, my impressions are I don't like the Unreal Engine. I think that games that come from the Unreal Engine tend to have various problems. Micro Stutter is not performing particularly well. You can see the menu is giving me 45 FPS. But you can make good games in Unreal Engine. People do it all the time. But then you also have right here this very boring font that feels very generic. It feels like they, whatever the default font is, this is that font. And I don't know enough about Unreal to know if this is the default font or not. But Arial fonts like these tend to not work very well in games, and you can see why right here in the word Rulebreaker, because this background is fairly detailed. It's got light areas and dark areas, and a sans serif font like Arial is going to not stand out very well. It's going to be hard to read, and so ideally you want a serif font with an outline, and then it'll be easy to read. So the font I use in editing, I don't actually care about this game. I didn't start the timer. I don't care about this game enough to be like I need to spend all of the time I'm giving the game just playing it. I want to talk about the menus, because the first thing that the player's going to interact with is your menu. Anyway, when I'm making YouTube videos, this is the font I use. Usually it's bigger than this, right? But you can see it's got an outline, and it's a let's make that 70, so you can actually 700, fine, right? Actually, I guess this is technically sans serif. Let's check. All right. Okay, where are we editing text? So, okay, so there's a little bit of serifing, right? So the T has a little blaze here, and if you put in like a W, you can see that these little guys are giving the letters some weight. And if you go into Rulebreaker, I guess K is a good example. So lowercase k, give me K. Lowercase k here, you can see that all of the edges are a little bit rounded to make it easier to see, whereas these are just sort of the same shape as the part before them, so this is just one straight line. Or like the lowercase r, you can see again, right? It's got all these rounded bits, and then with the outline, I'll give it a little bit more weight so you can see it. With the outline, you can put that on any background, and it'll be nice and readable. And so this basic lack of thoughtfulness of just, you know, default font, no outline, so it's hard to read on the background paired with it. So like you could have put anything here. You could have moved it around so that the black part was across, you know, behind the green part, so it was easier to read. This basic lack of thoughtfulness is going to follow you through the rest of the game. And that's why I'm spending so much time on the menu rather than playing the game. Because as someone who's played a lot of these free games, many of which are of low quality, these are the things that I look at first. Just that tip me off, am I about to play a good game or not?
Eh, tu te souviens de la première fois où on a dû gérer SCP-173? C'était flippant, mais on s'en est sorti finalement.
Oh ouais, ce truc qui foutait la trouille à bouger des qu'on clignait des yeux, j'ai cru que j'allais perdre la raison, et puis franchement, ce machin ici depuis des années, mais on sait toujours rien à son sujet.
Yep, cutscene, okay.
Ah oui d'ailleurs, t'as entendu.
So, obviously I can't understand that because I think they're speaking French, but the voice lines are not especially clear. They're a little bit mumbly, they're not loud enough.
Vite. Oui, allô, je t'entends. Qu'est-ce qui se passe, bordel?
Oh putain, merci, je pensais que j'étais tout seul dans ce soir. Les communications avec l'extérieur ont été coupées. Une énorme brèche de confinement, c'est vraiment la merde. Mon supérieur et scientifique avec qui j'étais ont soit disparu, soit ont été tués par une anomalie.
Ton supérieur? T'es qui en fait?
Je suis qu'un simple soldat, vous êtes un scientifique?
Non,
You move around?
Sugar,
Okay,
Gardez
this is
Van,
just a
matricule
cutscene.
GRD 2961. Je gère les classes D et d'un moment à l'autre, je me suis retrouvé dans un blackout. Je crois que je me suis fait tirer dessus par un gars qui s'enfuyait.
Tu devrais trouver une trousse de sang alors, mais par contre, je te vois pas sur les cams.
Je suis juste avant l'entrée vers la salle des classes D. La caméra est morte, c'est normal que tu me vois pas. Comment t'as eu accès à la salle de surveillance?
C'était juste à côté de mon
Oh, and you can see
computer,
the
mais avec tout ce qui s'est passé, je me
the
suis
camera is
retrouvé bloqué à
put in
l'intérieur.
such a way that you can see parts of this guy's head clipping out.
Ouais,
It's
je sais, mais on m'a pris la mienne et là j'ai qu'une carte de niveau 1.
Ah merde, tu dois
yeah,
pas
and
envoyer
then
avec tout le bordel qu'il y a autour, mais vraiment
yeah.
fais gaffe, hein. Beaucoup de mes cams marchent mal, voire pas du tout. Donc je vais pas pouvoir beaucoup t'aider autre que par radio.
Okay. So, okay, sensitivity way too high again. This might just be a me thing. Maybe everyone else is fine with sensitivity this high. I think this is supposed to be a stealth game. Okay, yeah. Sensitivity is really high, and it does. There's some sort of blur effect that like you got high contrast effects in areas and whatever, and motion blur, and this just ugh. D-class cells, and yeah. So again, the not very readable text on a glossy background. So you know you can get it like this. So you've got white text on a white background. You know, if you go, okay, whatever. If you go for like, you know, a classroom sign, not quite what not quite what I wanted. Okay. Come on. Anyway, this is a sign for in a classroom. Nope. Yeah, here we go. For example, 2E, right? All of these are black text on a light background, or, you know, dark text or light text in a black background. It's very, very high contrast. And it's the same basic design principle across all kinds of things. And that text in that game was, right, this is important. This is telling you where stuff is, where to go. So you want to make sure that this is readable. And like in universe, they're going to want the same thing. They want the text to be readable. And so they would have done something like this and made it higher contrast. Okay, well, I know I didn't really review the game. It was mostly just about, like, you know, is the text done correctly? But that stuff matters, you know? If you can't get your text right, then I don't trust you to make the rest of the video game, because text is really easy and video games are really hard. So I guess I'll put it with Darkstorm. You know, it does what it says it's going to do, apparently, but it's just sort of sloppy about it. Anyway, Sentinels. We're going to make a new category for this one, because I know it's a special case. This one is multiplayer only. I don't have any other players to test with, and there's no one online right now. So we'll save this one for later. Snow Plowing Simulator. I've reviewed this one before. I didn't like it, but that recording is scuffed as hell, so we're going to do it again. If it'll... Is it... Yeah, here we go. Okay, here we go. Start a new game, and I don't know what any of these settings do. I'm just leaving everything at default for the purposes of this series. Okay, so I am spawned in here, and it has not given me any directions. Wait, did I? Yeah. Okay. So, you know, I'm a working professional. Let's go sit at my desk. See if there's anything helpful on my desk. Okay, online shop. On your computer, you'll find software. Okay, so yeah, I can buy stuff at the store. Let's buy a shovel. Okay, sure. And delivery. Okay. It'll be delivered by a courier. I wonder how long that takes. And it's click and not E to open doors in this game, which is a little odd, but fine. Okay, courier brought it. Okay, yeah, there's all these pop-ups. I remember being very annoyed by the pop-ups last time. Anyway, here's our shovel. Oh, E brings up the menu to tell you about your character. Let's see, can I just, like, click on it to interact with it? I have a shovel. Can I use it? How do I use it? Okay, press 1. What? That is... Why is it... This feels awful. If you're watching this stream, especially if you're watching the stream, YouTube viewers probably don't have the same issue. But this is not choppy because the stream or the YouTube video or whatever is bad. This is choppy because it's just poorly made. When you walk in high school, you lose energy faster and move slower. Okay. So last time I played it, oh my god, you can't walk 2 steps without telling you how to play the game. Okay, so here's my pickup truck. I don't want to read all these pop-ups. I remember there being some sort of quest that said I had to, like... Oh, can I open this door? I had to, like, shovel out the driveway, so I'm gonna... Wait, I'm pressing 1 wise. Okay, there we go. I have to shovel the driveway, so I'm gonna do that. Even though I haven't actually gotten that prompt yet in the game, as far as I know. Oh, it's modeling how many kilograms of snow I'm shoveling? But it's not modeling where the snow goes when I'm shoveling it. Okay. Yeah, this is incredibly jank. What do you mean? Wait, what do you mean 3.7%? Like, damage the shovel as I use it? Or is it how much? Is that just how much I've shoveled? How is that measured? Okay. Just press Q to see what needs to be cleared out. Okay, I'm pressing Q. Okay, so that one's the one that needs to be cleared out. Okay, got it. Okay, so I think that they're sort of trying to be something adjacent to Power Walk Simulator, but with snow. The issue, of course, being Power Wash Simulator feels good to play. Oh my god, no, I don't care. I don't care about mailboxes. I just let me play the game. Let me play the video game and stop interrupting me with random pop-ups about features I don't care about. Will I need to know them eventually? Yes, but if you front-load information like this, players are just going to forget about it by the time it's relevant. Also, I'm doing this job for me, so do I hand it in to myself? Is that how that works? Why does it take so long to... Yeah. Usually for simulation... Okay, well, thankfully, I don't have to play this game anymore. And I think that by my standards... it is... I'm going to put it with Chrome Clicker. Alright, so both of these games function as intended. They're just functioning in a way I don't like. And both of them also had performance issues. That's the thing here. And, you know, SCP Rulebreaker had performance issues too. But these two feel actively unpleasant to play. Whereas this one, I'm mildly annoyed by their font choices. And this one, it's very cool, but just a little awkward. Anyway, 100 Capitalist Cats. So this review is actually going to be a review of all of these games, because they're all the same. I think I've got at least one more of this type of game in here somewhere. Made with Unity. At least they made the splash screen somewhat interesting. Yep, started to play level 1 last review, although I didn't finish it. You can see that because of how they've laid it out, for whatever reason, the lines don't look good until you're sufficiently zoomed in. Oh yeah, and there's an achievement for every single cat. I don't know if I love it or hate it. It's certainly something. So this game is nice. I like this game. And if it were the only game of its kind, I would give it a much higher score. But there appear to be just so many games like this. And so I think that most people collect games for breadth over depth. So, you know, there's people who are like, I really like roguelikes. I want to have every single roguelike. But most people are like, I want to play a bunch of different kinds of games. Or like, even if you're like staying within like straight first-person shooters, you don't want to play against a bunch of games that all play like Counter-Strike. You want to play, you know, some games that are sort of very realistic and some games that are very silly. So like, you know, some Counter-Strike, some Rainbow Six, some, you know, Time Splitters, whatever. And so having a bunch of functionally identical games. Oh no, I have to pay for level 2, right? Having a bunch of functionally identical games out there, I don't think really benefits anyone. This is gonna be slightly weird on my rankings, because, you know, it does what it set out to do. I am just gonna put with Don't Word Sim Trading. And this one, I've actually already beaten this game. I wonder if it saves that I've beaten it. Okay, no, it doesn't. It just like starts over. It doesn't save your progress. Yeah. So these are the same game. This one is slightly better. You can see that this one doesn't have the same issue as 100 Capitalist Cats, because the lines are thick enough, right? So if you're all the way zoomed out, all of these lines are at least 1 pixel thick, and so like this part looks a little jank. Doesn't, like, you know, it looks a little not great from this zoomed out, but all of the line, I don't know, actually there's sort of this stuff going on here. I don't know exactly what's I think this is basically just like these lines are thin enough that they're not sure what pixel they're supposed to be on. But you can see all the lines much better on this game than on the other game. So this game scores slightly higher. And also, like, I think this game was just like more... It had a better flow to it when I was playing it. So this game scores slightly higher. But I don't feel a need to do 2 separate reviews for the same game using... This is basically the same game. So here you go. Here's another Pokemon clone. Made with Unity. Isn't everything these days? Less so than usual, actually. Okay. So this is a sign of a game that's burned me previously. Having this many languages. I was playing a game earlier. It had like a dozen. I think it had like 20 supported languages, and the translation was awful because it was basically someone just wanted to say I support all these languages, and they paid the cheapest translator they could, and got predictable results. But so far, translation's not awful. Hello, new Adorimon trainer. Welcome to Adorim Masters Guild. I'm Receptionist Mia. I will guide you through okay, there's the typo already. I will guide you through very first steps to start your trainer job. You must have known about Adorimons, right? They are miracle creatures that can... They are miracle creatures. Those can only be found here in Adoria, the land of myths. Yeah, so they wanted to support a dozen languages, but this game is free. Translation is expensive. So something had to give, and what they lost out in this case was the quality of the translation. We're averaging like 1 typo per text box. All Adorimons possess superpowers, and each species have their own special abilities. If being treated well, they can be humans' most reliable and loyal allies. However, there are bad people. Okay, just let me play the game. Let me play the game. I want this one. Right. Your Adorimon would appear on the left side. Okay, so this menu is actually really well laid out. I like it. Yep. You're over-explaining everything. I know to play dang Pokemon. Yeah, okay. Yep, attack. Boom. Is this XP? What is this? Defend? Okay. I don't care. Start my first mission. Sure. Yep. Okay. Again, it's a Pokemon game with no story. Or there's a story, but it's poorly translated and you don't really interact with it in any way. It's just like a series of levels. I think this is going in tier of games that I will play some more. Because it works as intended and is not offensive to the eyeballs. So we'll see if there actually is a story. There's certainly more writing than the previous Pokemon club played. But this is just the battle system so far. Victory, yep. And it looks and feels like a mobile game in all of the worst ways. It's worth noting here, I haven't had any chances to change anything about my character. So... And also all these battles are incredibly easy. So... I basically haven't had any meaningful choices. If I'd just been clicking randomly, I probably would have gotten the same result. Game to be good. got good music. It's got pretty good animations. Yeah, okay, well. Yeah, this goes within the same category as Familiars.io. They both work as intended, but what they intend is a Pokemon-like experience missing a core half, third, whatever you want to call it, of what makes Pokemon special. And yeah, so I don't really want to play it because I'd rather just play, you know, any Pokemon game. Mostly not the modern ones. The modern ones are kind of bad. Yeah, I guess. Okay, I'd rather play Cassette Beasts. I'd rather play Cassette Beasts over either of those games under pretty much any circumstance. And it's not like there's some things that Cassette Beasts does right, there's some things that Adorimon does right. It's just you list up every checkbox of things you want in a Pokemon-like game. Cassette Beast checks all of them, and Adorimon checks like 2. And that's the problem of saying, you know, trying to make a game in a genre that's already pretty well defined, like Pokemon. If you don't hit all of the things that people are expecting, then your game isn't worth anything, because people are like, oh, okay, it's like Pokemon. Here are all the things I expect from Pokemon. Why do you not have all of them? Whereas a lot of these games are, you know, this genre is like click cats. If you click all the cats, you win, right? So in this genre, the expectations are very low, and so all you have to do is deliver those expectations, and you have won video games. So this is also why people don't recommend that new game developers make things like rhythm games. Rhythm games, people who really like rhythm games have very specific expectations, and if you don't meet those expectations, they're going to be upset at you. And so with a couple exceptions, basically it's just established rhythm game companies making rhythm games because rhythm game players really want a specific set of things, and you have to do a lot of complicated hacking on most target systems to get rhythm games to feel as responsive as they need to for people who are really into rhythm games to enjoy playing them. All right, anyway, we're going to go for AlchePot. I played this game before. I remember specifically this one, the audio is, yeah, so you can see the audio is, you have to turn the audio down a lot. Okay, is that, hopefully that works. Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn the audio down a lot because last time I was like editing my VOD for this game specifically, and it completely drowned out the narration. It was so loud. Yeah, minus 13, yeah. There we go, that's about right. Yep, so no options and the default icons for Godot. And yep. Last time I reviewed this game, which again, the footage was unusable because the game audio just drowned out my narration completely. Last time I reviewed this game, I was making fun of it for, like, there's a bunch of things that Godot does, like you know, making rebinding keys really easy, or, you know, making it really easy to change the splash screen. It's like 2 button clicks. I'll show that up when I'm done reviewing the game. You know, there's a bunch of options that Godot gives you that it's just not using for, you know, no good reason, because all of those options are really, really easy to make use of. The actual game itself is, you know, you're watching it. It's, you know, it's okay. Yeah, okay, so I don't even know what these orbs do when I observe them. I got hit, I guess. Okay, press O, then fire. This is like the tracking one that I found is just more annoying and less fun to use than the default attack when I was reviewing it last time. But whatever, let's humor them. I guess these might be XP or something? So do I unlock more attacks if I get more XP? Did I die? I got one more life, okay. No, I did die, okay. Is that a high score? Oh, there's no score system! This is basically a shmup, and there's no score system. And I forgot to set the timer. Okay, you've seen the entire game. This is good enough. I'm gonna put it down. No, I feel bad about putting it down with Snow Playing Simulator. I also don't want to play it for half an hour, and that's sort of the cutoff. I'll put it in its own category of games that are too short. Procrastinate's also in that category. Like, it's a good game. I like Procrastinate. But Procrastinate doesn't have 30 minutes worth of gameplay in it. Speaking of games that don't have 30 minutes worth of gameplay in them, Rise of the Eternal. Rise of the Eternal, everyone. This one I tried to play for 30 minutes because I hadn't figured out the format yet. Rise of the Eternal. Oh wait, this is a completely different game. No, I like this game. What am I talking about? I'm thinking of a different game. Why is this not working? Okay. Rise of the Eternal is this like sort of cute little basic Metroidvania-like. It's running at 96 frames per second. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, so you can see that basically everything about this is competent. Wait, was there a title screen? I forget. Okay, there was, yeah. Yeah. So passes the basic sort of metrics of competence. Starts up in full screen. And has an options menu. Combat feels a little iffy, but it's fun to just move around as Eternal Guy. What's his name? I don't know. I'm not sure why the sword is not dealing damage to these guys. It's like taking a while. I don't think that was happening last time I played. Maybe they take 2 hits to die or something? Yeah. The sword swing hitbox seems like slightly wrong. Well, I guess I'm... Yeah, I don't think that happened last time I played. I'm not sure why. Anyway, it's kind of fun to just, like, jump around. The platforming is pretty well done. I think it could stand to be a little bit more precise and lenient, but, you know. I paid no money for this game, and I'm having fun with it. Which is a lot more than you can say for... Well, you can say a lot more for this game in that regard than a lot of the other games I've played today. Okay, this is slightly confusing. It feels like I should... Like, this feels like it should be a wall right here, but it's not. Oh well. It's cool background detailing. I like it. There's not really any reason to fight enemies as far as I can tell. I like this section. Oh, well, I died. I like the platforming in this game, not so much the combat. I think if it was me in the designer's chair on this game, I would either remove the combat entirely or just, like, overhaul it. Okay, well, I died there again, but, like, the movement feels like it's about 80% of what it needs to be, and the combat feels like it's about, 40%. So, let me see if I can get this correctly. Yeah, so there's a mechanic called Coyote Time, where if you're just, like, very close to the edge of a platform, you feel like you should be able to jump and you can't, and it just, like, feels wrong, and this game doesn't have it. You can see right here, I'm pressing jump, and I can jump off because I was on the platform, but if I... Yeah, so that should give you a jump input, and it doesn't, because this game doesn't have Coyote Time, for example. But when you're trying to avoid spikes, you want to be as close to the edge of the platform as possible to maximize the amount of distance you get. And so that does... Without Coyote Time, that does lead to issues, like minor issues. And then there's like a minor animation bug. Oh, what was it? I was like... Oh, I just got it. Okay, whatever. There's a minor... Yeah. And I think that these platforms are sort of... Because there's no Coyote Time and a couple other things are slightly under-polished. These one-by-one platforms specifically don't feel great. But yeah, like... It says, okay, I'm a Metroidvania. Here's all the things you expect from a Metroidvania, sort of at the budget we're working with here. And it has all of them. I think it needs a little bit more love, but... I want to like it, and I do like it, because it's obviously making the effort. This is a sincere effort to make an interesting game. And it winds up being pretty good. Not amazing, just pretty good. I'm going to put that... I'm going to put it right under Dream of Star Heaven. It is not quite where it needs to be in terms of polish, but a good faith effort by someone who definitely could grow into that role. I trust whoever made this, maybe not with this game, but with whatever they work on next, to make an actually quality game. Yeah, I know we were talking earlier about scope, about how these two games are trying to be Pokemon and failing because Pokemon, like the basic Pokemon game is like a huge scope because it's like you need to make a bunch of monsters, you need to make a combat system that kind of accommodate all those monsters, you need to make a story that lasts, at least 10 hours. You need basic RPG elements like leveling up and item systems and that sort of thing. And just saying them out loud, it's like, oh yeah, I know how to do each of those individual things, and they're not that hard. But sort of getting them all to work together, and sort of the story writing and the programming and the creature design, those are all very different disciplines. And so if you're a solo developer, it's hard to be good at all of them. So that's why these two go down here, right? The idea was not solid, and then they executed it mediocrely. Whereas this idea is solid. It's a mediocre execution still, maybe a little above mediocre. But it's like, they did a decent job executing a good idea. And these guys did a good job executing an idea they shouldn't have bothered with. Because Pokemon is so heavy as a set of expectations the player has. Alien Horizon. Oh god, this game. Right. Okay. So last time I tried to play this game, I bailed on it. And I'll show you why in just a sec. So yeah, this text is kind of small. At least you can move it around, that's nice. This text is kind of small. At least it's slightly Oh, this is still sans serif, isn't it? Yeah, that L doesn't have any bottom bits that make it easier to read. Yep. Use serif fonts, please. I like serif fonts. They're easier to read. Anyway. I closed this game and stopped playing it because it was just too much text. And it was giving me a headache. So, I like the spaceship design. I like the logo here. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna tell me what to do. Yep, that's a lot of text. Okay. Objectives should guide your objectives should guide your progression, telling us the. Oh god, is this game poorly translated too, or just a native English speaker not explaining themselves correctly? It could be either. Objectives tutorial. Objectives should guide our progression, telling us the recommended order at which we should do things. We should stick to it at least in the beginning, mouse over an objective to see its details. Dashed lines represent recommended prerequisites, while full ones are strict requirements. Okay, no, it's an in-universe thing, so it's not like you are one player. You're like only one player is playing this game, but we as a colony. What should we as the colony? Okay, so that makes sense, I guess. I don't hate it. Dashed lines represent recommended prerequisites, while full ones represent strict requirements. You can also pin objectives, and they'll always be visible in the upper right part of the screen. Some objectives have already been pinned. Once we've inspected our options, we should take a look at map overlays in the lower left corner to figure out where to search. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, life support. Too much text. This overlay shows life support grids. How do I close you? Okay. This overlay shows how different power grids are connected. Each power grid is a continuous area painted with one color. See a legend and then. Okay. You've given me too much text, and now I'm just skipping through it because I can't bear to read all of it. So I can put power grid right here and right here, and then I need some of whatever this is, power line. Okay, so we want power line. What? Why do we? Oh, you already have so many resources. Oh no. Okay, so that even hasn't even been constructed yet. So they've got little trucks that are putting workers in that'll construct it. And then power line. Okay, so I can just construct a power line here. And then that'll, in theory, take the solar energy back to the ship. Oh, there's little... what is this? Enable structure. I'm sure this is the fun game once you understand the mechanics, but it's doing a really poor job of explaining them because it's just like front loading everything. It's just like paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of text that you don't have the... So I've played city builders. This game isn't that complicated by city builder standards, but they're making it feel very complicated by just giving you everything at once. And so from the perspective of realism, like this is a crashed ship. It's gonna have a bunch of stuff on it, and it's like, hey, here's all these resources. You know, make the best use of them as you can. But it's just organized poorly in a way that frustrates me. I think I'm gonna put that with this one. You know, good idea, execution needs work.